Collective grief. This is grief experienced by a community or society following a shared traumatic event, such as a natural disaster,
Right.
public tragedies, such as a mass shooting,
Mm-hmm.
one of the
Mm-hmm.
schools that we had years ago,
Yeah.
uh, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, things like that, tsunamis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the public at large shares in that grief because
Yeah.
nearly everyone has been impacted in some kind of way.
Certainly. Yeah.
And I do community disaster training,
Yeah.
and I talk about things like having a 90-day supply of medications on hand,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
having your medical records on a thumb drive,
That's right.
those types of things like that, because you just don't never know.
You just never
Where
know.
your town is impacted by a tornado or a hurricane, and all of the records are lost. Records are lost, and a lot of the areas don't have everything have everything electronic.
That's right.
It can really be it can be big.
Mm-hmm.
Recovery techniques associated with the collective grief includes participating in collective mourning events, seek support from community resources such as hotlines,
Yeah.
crisis hotlines, and consider therapy for trauma. Ambiguous grief is next, and by definition, this grief arises from situations where there is uncertainty about the status or whereabouts of a loved one,
Mm-hmm.
such as a missing persons or dementia. And the ambiguous grief and the collective grief can be akin to each other because
Mm-hmm.
if you have natural disasters and you don't know where bodies are, you're trying to locate bodies after
Yes.
a tornado, then it could run hand in
Right.
hand with the big ambiguous grief. Recovery techniques includes engage in theory to address unresolved feelings, um, join support groups for similar situations, and consider practicing mindfulness and meditation. And added to this is you could become a part of the search team if they're looking for a person.
Yes.
You could become a part of that search team. Secondary grief is next, and this type of grief is experienced by people indirectly affected by loss, like friends or coworkers or healthcare providers. I've lost several classmates, from my high school class and some
Yeah.
from my college class,
Yeah.
and I've lost people who I worked with. About I guess about 8 years ago, I had spoke with one of my coworkers, and we talked and we talked and we talked, and I told her, I said getting ready to go to lunch. I left out to go to lunch at about 12:15,
Mm-hmm.
and about 12:30, I was already off campus. But they were calling 911. She had a massive heart attack
Oh
and was
my.
dying, and
Oh
she
my.
eventually died. So that was
Mm.
very traumatic for us,
Yeah.
because we talked every day. We talked every day,
Mm.
and
So sad.
it's you have to seek professional counseling if necessary, and engage in open conversations about the loss.
Yeah. Ask for help.
Prioritize self care. Make sure that you take care of yourself during that period of time. Survivor's guilt. Grief characterized by feelings or guilt for having survived a traumatic event when
Mm-hmm.
others did not, such as getting out of a fire. I recently lost two family members. They were children. They were 10 years old, a set of twins, and they got burned up in a fire.
Mm.
And their mother survived.
Mm.
And so she's going through a lot right now, emotionally,
Yeah. Yeah.
because she's wondering what could she have done differently to save her children, that type of thing like that. So it was very, very difficult at this time, very
Very
traumatic.
difficult.
In this instance, in terms of recovery techniques, participation in survivor support groups, consider therapy or counseling, practice self-forgiveness. This is going to be very, very important, especially when you start blaming yourself for what happened.
That's right.
And channel guilt into meaningful conversations or actions or advocacy, like joining support groups or creating your own support group based on your experience when you have the strength and when you have the time. Childhood grief. Grief is experienced by children and adolescents following the death of a loved one, which may manifest differently than the adult. Children often blame themselves. They often, and because of something that's happened, they said, if they had not done such and such, then this wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
So it's very difficult with children. Recovery techniques include open communication, age appropriate information. That's going to be something that's very, very important.
Yeah.
Age appropriate information, because the children do not comprehend like adults.
That's
Right.
right.
You may have some children who are very mature for their ages and everything, but you have to understand that they're still children.
That's right.
They are still children. Creative outlets like an art or play therapy, and seek the guidance of a child grief specialist. Child psychiatrist. Illness grief is the last one. And here, grief is experienced by individuals with chronic illnesses, often involving multiple losses related to their health, independence, and future. And here you can have people who have chronic illnesses and they've lost several friends to the same illness. They befriended people in the doctor's office, and they exchanged numbers and they start talking and this type of thing like that.
Yeah.
And when that person died, it impacted them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So these are real scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Join support groups for those with similar conditions. Pursue therapy for emotional processing. Set achievable goals. Achievable goals.
Yeah.
Not goals like, I will have finished the grief process by the end of the week.
Yeah. Don't say
Yeah.
that.
Those types of
Yeah.
things. And maintain a positive outlook.